The average person checks Instagram around 150 times a day. This is not a coincidence. These applications are designed exactly this way. Today, technology companies spend billions of dollars trying to understand what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. Infinite content, endless scrolling videos, sudden notifications, likes. All of it is designed to trigger dopamine in your brain. And if the very first thing you do when you open your eyes in the morning is check your phone, let me be very clear with you. You are creating a serious disadvantage for yourself. Because at that moment, your brain is at its most vulnerable state. To truly understand this, we first need to understand how the brain works. The human brain operates in 4 main wave states. The state we are in right now is called the beta state. We are awake, alert, logical, and analytical. When we enter deep sleep, the brain shifts into the delta state. But the most critical states are the 2 in between, alpha and theta. These are the brain waves that unlock learning, creativity, and mental programming. When you are in the theta state, it feels as if a curtain is lifted in your mind. New ideas appear, connections are formed. Those moments when you say, "It just came to me," that happens because of theta. Have you ever noticed this while taking a shower? Your best ideas appear there. Your mind drifts. You get lost in thought. That is because you are in the theta state. The core of what I do is exactly this: making the invisible visible, bringing what exists in the mind into conscious awareness. Because there is no magic here. There is a method. And once you learn this method, you can consciously use brainwaves to unlock your hidden potential. Just above theta and just below beta lies the alpha state. Alpha is the learning mode. In this state, information enters the mind without resistance. The critical mind becomes quiet. The brain absorbs information like a sponge. You enter this state during meditation, but you also enter it without realizing it. For example, while watching television. When someone is watching a match or a series and you speak to them, it feels like they can't hear you, right? That's the alpha state. That's why advertisements work. That's why programming is effective. We teach people new languages using this exact method. We guide them into the alpha state, and they learn without even realizing it. Now stop and think. In school, they taught you math, history, geography, English. But did anyone ever teach you how to learn? How to concentrate? How to remember how to make decisions? How to think? Socrates once said something very powerful. There is no learning without remembering. And that is the foundation of everything. Now, we arrive at a critical point. When you wake up in the morning, your brain is in a state between alpha and theta. And if the first thing you do at that moment is check your phone, that's where the problem begins. Messages that arrived overnight, notifications, likes, comments, all of them pull your attention in different directions. And because your brain is in a sensitive state, you are affected far more than usual. If you read bad news in the morning, the chances of having a bad day increase significantly. That is why awareness is essential. Morning meditation is recommended for this reason. Not to feel peaceful, but because it is a mental exercise. When your mind wanders, that is the opportunity. Take a breath and bring it back. Another critical point is this. People often say things like, "I hope I have energy today. I hope I feel motivated. I hope I can concentrate." But these are not things you have. They are things you do. You don't have energy. You do things that create energy. You don't lack concentration. There are behaviors that create focus. Creativity is not a trait. It is a process. If you want to increase your confidence quickly, learn about brainwaves. Because the human brain is the most powerful computer in the universe. They say knowledge is power. That's not true. Knowledge has the potential to become power, but only if you use it. Many people buy books, listen to podcasts, attend conferences, yet their lives do not change. Why? Because they forget. There is something called the forgetting curve. Within 48 hours of learning something, you forget around 80% of it. If you don't repeat what you've learned, most of what you hear in this video will disappear. That's why memory is critical. And that's why you should not touch your phone first thing in the morning. And you should not look at screens before going to sleep. Blue light disrupts melatonin production, which is why you wake up feeling restless. Every night, I write down 3 goals. I fall asleep with those goals, and I wake up with them. And I don't touch my phone until I've completed at least one item on that list. This is a challenge I give myself. Now, let me offer you a simple test. For 1 week, leave your phone outside the bedroom. After waking up, don't touch it for the first hour. And during that hour, be a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer reacts to the environment. A thermostat changes the environment, and you want to be the thermostat. Because if you're still listening at this point, it means you're not completely satisfied with your life. Remember, if you don't repeat this information, you'll forget 80% of it within 48 hours. Now I'm going to show you how to program yourself. The truth is, you've already been programmed by society, by your family, by advertisements, and most importantly, by yourself. A thought creates a feeling creates a behavior, and we become what we think. That's why, as you fall asleep at night, spend the last 5 minutes not worrying, but visualizing. See in your mind the person you want to be tomorrow. If you have an exam, see yourself calm and successful. If you have a job interview, imagine yourself confident. The mind cannot distinguish between reality and imagination. That's why athletes, business leaders, and successful people use this. There was an experiment. 3 groups of people. 1 group trained physically every day. 1 group trained only in their mind. 1 group did nothing. The result? The physical training group improved by 24%. The mental training group improved by 23%. That is the power of the mind. So visualize your perfect day. Not what could go wrong, but what will go right. Because where attention goes, energy flows. 95% of our lives are shaped by programs installed in the first 7 years. But here's the good news. Those programs can be changed. In 2 ways: repetition and the right mental state. And when you do this, your life truly begins to change. So tonight, before you sleep, take just 5 minutes. Watch tomorrow in your mind. And remember this: when you awaken your mind, you don't just change yourself, you may change the world you live in.